All right. Durant and Davis both may be getting traded at some point soon. Uh the Bulls start off the season 500, not bad, not great. And then we have problems with the Timberwolves and the MVP race. We can start talking about that now 10 games in. We're going to cover all that and more in another episode of. All right. Let's start with Davis and Durant. Durant has been in some trade rumors mainly because Kyrie Irving situation, and I think that he will get moved at some point. Whether it's this season or next, we'll see. But Kyrie's gonna leave. They can't trade him because no one wants to give up assets for him, and Kyrie will probably leave in the offseason for a vet min because no one wants to give him anything more than that.
Yeah, what's going on in Brooklyn is it's a rough situation, and I don't really see how you can just keep moving forward with what's going on right now.
Yeah,
I saw a report today even that they're not going to hire Ime Udoka now.
yeah, they're
So I don't know
hiring.
what that was all about. They
Yeah,
were
they're
probably
hiring
like
someone else, Jacques
they were
Vaughn or
just
something.
trying to just patch everything up with Ime Udoka, who and that wasn't going to work. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, they're such a talented team, but there's too many problems in my opinion. I think they
yeah.
do need to move on from Durant eventually, and they could get a really big haul for him. So we'll see.
I think Kyrie Irving's career is in jeopardy right now. I think that he is not playing at the level that he needs to be playing at when he's on the floor, and he's way too many distractions off the floor. So, besides teams like the Lakers, I think he gets a vet min wherever he goes next year, but no one wants to pay him anymore. And
Yeah, I mean,
he's
long
not
term,
worth the drama.
investing like $40 million a year into him long term, he's stated that he doesn't want to play more than like 75% of games in the first place.
Right.
And then he's got all of these off the court issues that are just something a franchise does not want to nobody wants to take that risk. So
Yeah.
it's going to be really interesting.
I hate Kyrie Irving. I didn't care about him. I thought in Boston he was a head case, but he still played games. But ever since he got to Brooklyn, I've hated him. Everything he tries, he acts like he's so much smarter than everyone else around him, but in reality, he's just screwing himself over. He's just dumb. He's not
Yeah,
smart. He's screwing himself over.
it's
He screwed himself out of probably more than $200 million, maybe $300 million in his career because he doesn't want to play. I just,
Yeah, probably
what's
more
wrong with
because
you?
of additional sponsorships and stuff. He's getting dropped by his shoe company, which is how
Good for him.
most star players make a lot of their revenue. So,
Yeah, if I'm Kevin Durant, I don't even want to be in Brooklyn anymore. Get me out. Why would you want
no,
to stay in that place? It
no,
looks terrible.
no. The Ben Simmons experiment has been bad.
Terrible.
It
Yeah.
has not worked out.
And
There's like reports that he might come off the bench and stuff like that. He's fouling more than he's scoring.
yep.
I was going through YouTube last night. I saw game like replay highlight when he was on the Sixers of him scoring 42 points.
I know.
42.
Yeah, he's
He's
just
never gonna do that again.
no. He's just not he's too scared. He's too scared to play. He'll never be the same again. Kyrie Irving will never be the same again because he has too much off court distractions. And to be honest, no one likes him anymore. His teammates don't
Yeah.
like him. The NBA doesn't like him. The Players Association doesn't like him. Fans don't like him. He's screwed himself out of the league. It's not like the league's blackballing him. No, he screwed himself. I understand that give him a second chance, sure, but he doesn't have any remorse for his actions. He has
Yeah.
no remorse for what he did a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. He refused to apologize. He had a meltdown of a press conference with Nick Friedel where he was just saying just the most outlandish, stubborn, arrogant answers to questions I've ever seen. And it's because of that he's not gonna be the same player anymore. He's not gonna get the same money or the same treatment. And maybe once
Yeah.
he
And
realizes that, he'll figure it out. But it's too
you
late
and
now.
me used to just a bunch of people, I guess, just really kind of push that stuff away because he was such a good basketball player. But like this is actions that you just
No, you
can't
can't
just
defend
brush
his
it
actions
aside.
right now. Yeah, and it'd be different if he was educating himself on what he's actually trying to talk about, but he's not. He's just going out saying shit, thinking that he's correct.
Right.
I can't. I hate
The
players
fact that he
like
won't
that.
apologize for it as well is what's
Well, and
making
then he
it.
gets mad at the fact that he every word that he says gets analyzed, but then he likes to say, "Oh, I want to use my platform to do this." You can't have it both ways. You are an NBA superstar, which means that you have a bigger platform. People are going to analyze what you say more. But you can't have it both ways and say, now I want people to listen, and now people shouldn't be listening. That's just
Right.
not how it works. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
So I know we're
He's a
supposed to talk
head
about Kevin
case.
Durant there, but I mean, the only reason he's going to get traded is because of Kyrie Irving, and he should want to get traded because of Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
But Anthony Davis is a more interesting topic because he could be coming to Chicago. A lot of people think that that's the best destination for him.
I've seen
And
some mock packages
oh, they're
too.
terrible packages.
They're
They're
terrible.
asking for like Caruso, P. Will, and Demar. No,
And no, yeah, like Levine, P. Will, Kobe, multiple firsts. Anthony Davis?
he's not even playing. He's I can't trust him to play. I saw some stat in the second half recently. He's been what 2, 4 points a game recently in the second half. They're just losing. They're not a good team,
They're
and
not.
they should trade him because you can get assets for him. But he's not at a high enough trade value where you can just say, "I'll take Levine, P. Will, and Caruso and picks."
Maybe
Especially
when
after
he
P.
was
Will's been playing
25.
good now. Like you're gonna have to match contracts, you have to throw Levine or Demar in that deal. But if I'm doing that, I'm throwing Demar over Levine first of all. Uh, because I think Levine, we just pay Levine all that money. I'm not giving him up now. Why would I? We'll touch on this later, but I'd trade Demar, but I'm not giving you Patrick Williams or anything else because I need to throw in Demar, Vooch, or Levine to match contracts, right?
Mhm,
They don't
mhm.
want Vooch. They want Demar Levine. I'm not going to give you Patrick Williams. I'm not going to give you Io. Maybe you can have Dalen Terry, and that's about all you're going to get from me.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to give up Io. We'd probably have to throw Patrick Williams and at least a pick, probably more, considering what the Timberwolves got for Gobert and stuff.
Yeah, that
Would the
Gobert trade.
Lakers want DeRozan? I mean, if they still have LeBron, maybe.
Yeah, if they still have LeBron, I think they would.
But
They
like at the point where you're trading Davis, they probably don't want DeRozan back because they're so bad at that time and his contract slash
But
age
the
just
other
not.
problem with AD though is the only way you can make a trade with Anthony Davis is by throwing in a DeRozan like player, no matter where
Right.
you trade him, because you need to match contracts. A
Yeah,
nice young
maybe I
player
think
that they want.
DeRozan's contract expires the year after anyway.
Yeah, he does.
So maybe they do want it,
Yeah,
but
like as a Bulls fan, I don't want AD that bad. I don't think he's gonna like he's great, but with what we'd have to give up to get him, I don't think it's worth trying to go trade for him. He's an unreliable superstar, just like
I
Kyrie Irving.
agree. He does fill a lot of holes that the Bulls have.
Yeah,
Like
but trading away three of our like core pieces is going to create a lot of more holes that we have that
yeah,
just won't be able to cover for us.
definitely. And I don't think we'd have the wing depth necessarily if
No,
we traded
no, we would
DeRozan
not.
and Levine.
We're
So
trading wing depth for big depth. And is Davis and Vooch going to work together? I don't know.
I don't know.
Uh,
Maybe
well,
does Carl Anthony
we already
Towns and Rudy
Gobert's not
Gobert
working.
work together? No.
No, and I guess that moves us into what we want to talk about next is what's wrong with them. They look everyone's like, oh yeah, they'll be a regular season team. I thought they would be a great regular
Did you
season
see
team.
that clip of
They look
Anthony
terrible.
Edwards standing like this
Yeah,
with his
didn't
hands on
move.
his hips for 24 seconds?
Yeah, he looks
Like
pissed.
a guy
He's not.
came up and fake screen for him and cut, and he still didn't move.
Yeah,
Didn't
I,
move.
I mean, Graham, if you were me, who would you, or if you were the Timberwolves, sorry, who would you want to be like the number one guy in your team? Towns, D'Lo, Edwards, or Gobert?
Edwards.
Exactly. So why is Edwards not having 30 points a game every night? I don't care who else you have on your team. He can get that by himself pretty easily.
Does he
And
take the
then
shots to
he
do
can
it?
get everyone else involved once he gets going. But he's not.
D'Angelo Russell has been horrible, by the way. He's been really bad.
Yeah, he had what,
Like
two
I'm
good
looking at
games throughout
over
the
at these
season?
stats again, like 13 and a half a game on 38% from the field and 30% from three.
And he's not a good enough point guard to get the bigs involved. You need a
Right.
true point guard. They need Alonzo Ball or Rajon Rondo on their team.
They don't have the wing defensive depth
No.
to do anything either. I mean, I like Jaden McDaniels, but like it's so big up front.
Yeah.
It creates the same problem as the Jazz had with Gobert, that it's just like nobody can guard anybody on the perimeter. So they drive by him. Gobert is forced to come over and help. Towns too, because he's Towns and he doesn't want to guard on the perimeter, which makes
Exactly.
sense. And then they just kick it out for a wide open three to
And the league's
whoever.
too like every big can shoot now. So
Yeah.
Gobert and Towns have to go guard the perimeter, and they can't. And you and I both agree that Gobert is probably one of the top 3 or 5 defensive forces in the league. But as he gets older and as he gets slower, he's not going to be as useful because you need him to be able to guard the perimeter. Because every big, even Embiid and even Giannis, who control the paint, always start at the perimeter. They're going to shoot threes if they're open. They're going to shoot mid ranges.
And
And
back in the day,
Gobert's
you could
defense
maybe
is
get
going to
away
be,
with this, but
yeah,
like nobody, the four on the opposing team probably shoots 38% from three.
right,
So Karl Anthony Towns can't sit in the paint. He has to be out there.
exactly. And he
And like
can't
I've
guard
I've
anyone else
seen
there
possessions from them where he just like looks visibly frustrated because he can't do that. You
because,
shouldn't have a 7-footer running around chasing Max Struess's all game or whatever.
right. Have they played the Jazz yet this season? I think
I
they did. I
I
think
think
they
they
lost.
have. Yeah, didn't oh wait, no,
Yeah, they
THT
lost
bumped
by
on the Lakers.
6. They lost by 6. And you know who had 24 for Markkinen and 21 for Kelly Olynyk? Both of those are bigs that can shoot. I mean, that just
Yeah.
proves our point, right? They can't guard the perimeter for any bigs that can shoot. And then their other 3 guards also can't guard the perimeter because they gave up their best wing defender in Jared Vanderbilt to get Rudy Gobert here. And now
And
Rudy
Patrick
Gobert can't
Beverly.
stop a traffic cone.
Yeah, well, Pat Bev, I guess, couldn't do that anyway. But
Yeah,
it's
uh,
it's
they're
it's
not.
really not looking good, and especially when your point guard isn't playing well. That's your point guard doesn't play any defense, so
Yep.
he needs to shoot 38% from three,
And he's
and
not.
he's not doing that.
Yeah.
He's a
Speaking
turnover
of,
machine.
well, let's go the opposite direction. Someone that is playing well. Luka Doncic is averaging 36, 8.5, and 8.5. Like, what? Unbelievable. Ridiculous. We've never seen anything like this.
Uh,
Never.
he's really he's
It's
insane. He's
it's so
insane.
much fun to watch him play. He has the ball in his hands every possession he's on the floor, and he gets something done 75% of the time. He
He
either gets a
does.
bucket, a good look for 3, or an assist. Like every look that he gets someone else is a good look. It's just whether or not his team knocks it down.
Yeah, I don't know how the fuck the Mavericks operate when he's on the bench. I don't know how, because he does everything for them when he's
Every
on the court. But I mean, they're 6-3 right now.
And they've been winning close games. And you know why? Because Luka's clutch like that. He is like that. He's
He knows
always
what to
been
do.
like that.
Yeah.
He wants the ball then. No one can guard him. He's gonna win games for them all the time in close games, which is why in the playoffs they're such a hard team to beat. Because if the game is close, I think everyone thinks the Mavericks will win because Luka's gonna come through.
Yeah, I mean they beat the Nets, the Raptors, the Jazz, the Mavs,
Yep.
the Nets again. They killed the Grizzlies, and they lost to the Pelicans by 2. They're
They're
a good team.
beating good teams and playing well against good teams.
Yeah,
I,
and
I'm very
what
impressed with them.
what they have as well is they have like a group of core guys who have played together for multiple years now.
Mm-hmm.
They made nice additions in the offseason based off what they needed. They needed some more size. They got that in JaVale McGee and Christian Wood.
Yep.
And they needed another guy who could sort of score the ball on his own,
And that's
Christian
Christian
Wood.
Wood. Christian Wood started the season great too. And Hardaway Jr. is back now. And you and I harped on this last year when the playoffs were going on that he was a big piece they're missing because he's going to get up 7 threes a game. And he's probably going to hit 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, and he's also gonna guard the best player in the court. I don't know how good of a defender he is, but he's better than Luka, so he's
Yeah,
gonna
and
guard
him
him.
and Dorian Finney-Smith because you can hide Luka on defense. And Luka's getting
Yeah.
steals now too. He's gotten good at
Oh,
being that off-ball defender, like similar
right,
to
like the
Zach LaVine.
savvy.
Right. It's similar to Zach LaVine, right? Where he not really a good on ball defender, but he'll get you a steal or two a game just by knowing where to be. And
Right,
but he's smart.
exactly.
Yeah. But to the MVP race right now, I've heard a lot of these analysts say, oh, it's like a 5 to 8 person race right now. No, it's 2 people, Giannis and Luka. Those are the 2 people that are in this race. Tatum, Booker, Ja, all of them
Mitchell.
are right below. Yeah, Mitchell right below. but Giannis and Luka are the clear 1 and 2 right now, or 1A, 1B, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
I
there's no,
think that,
and we might be seeing this a lot for the
yeah.
coming years as well. It's
And
going to
what's
be a
funny
lot
is,
of Giannis and Luka.
and he like Luka's points, 36, or his averages of 36, 8 and 8, isn't even like that crazy to think that he maintains it because he probably will. Unless he gets injured, he should have the MVP this year because if he starts getting double teamed, he's too smart. He's gonna have 15 assists. So you can't double him, and he's gonna score on anyone you put on him. I don't care who it is.
He's a mismatch.
Yeah.
He's too
And no one
big.
can guard him.
He
Same
shoots
thing with
over
Giannis.
everybody.
I mean,
It-
the other guys we named, you can try to double and you can make them play worse. You're not making Luka or Giannis get any worse. A
yeah,
bad game for them is if they have 26 points instead of 36. That's a bad game.
that's
So,
crazy.
and if you were trying to bet on an MVP, bet on Luka or Giannis. I'd bet on that now.
Yeah, and I think the
If both
West
teams are
is the
winning,
West is more open than people think as well.
100%.
Golden State doesn't look.
Doesn't
I
look
mean,
that
Golden State's
great.
going to be fine, but they don't look great. Phoenix definitely.
They barely
Phoenix
beat
looks good,
Sacramento.
but
Phoenix
uh,
looks good, but is anyone scared of Phoenix?
no, Dallas definitely isn't. I'll
No,
tell you that. Dallas
no,
isn't.
they're definitely not. Not a single. People look at Phoenix at 8-1 and think they're frauds when they're not. They're a very good basketball team, but they're not gonna win anything. Oh, Cam
Yeah, like
Johnson.
Portland's good to the Nuggets, but like I can see the Mavericks competing with every team on this
Oh yeah.
list.
Cam Johnson just happened a week or so ago. He has a torn meniscus. He's been having one of the greatest, best seasons of his career early on, and that was a big. That takes away shooting. That takes away defense. Takes
With
away a
no
starter
Jay
that they
Crowder
really
too.
need. And Jay Crowder's going to get traded soon, right? Because he's not.
Is he
Jay
even
Crowder,
is he even playing for
he hasn't
them?
even been playing. He's away from the team.
So who's there for?
They don't have.
They don't have the Jalen Smith guy anymore. They
Oh,
traded him for
Jalen Smith's on
Torrey
Indiana.
Craig.
Yeah, they don't have a four. They have some bums from the G League, and they're winning games. Doesn't matter. But in the playoffs, you have no depth, zero depth. Their backup point guard campaign is not a good backup point guard for
No,
Chris.
well, we know he's not. We've
Yeah,
watched him
after
play with
after
Chicago
watching
Bulls. He's
Chicago.
awful.
But yeah, I think
Uh,
the NBA isn't wide open entirely, except in the East. Like the Bucks have it on lock, I think. But everything else is wide open. Miami's not playing well. Brooklyn's bad.
mhm.
Boston, like now we can move to the Bulls, but people think Boston's all that. The Bulls have beat and contended with Boston a lot, or very well last Friday. No Drummond and no Kobe White, and we still only lost by 3 or 4, right? And
Yeah,
that's and their bench killed us because Brogdon had 30 points and played maybe one of the greatest games of his
we
career.
we couldn't guard Brogdon at all.
Yeah, and that's just one of those nights where he just went off. Our bench was not fully loaded. And I know they didn't have Gallinari or whatever, but they were ready to go with everything else. No Robert Williams for them. They've been without him all year.
Yeah,
But I mean, the Bulls looked fine. I think we've
no,
looked
we
good so
we
far.
really did. Um,
The loss
Also,
against Toronto pissed me off a lot.
did you see them box and wanting DeRozan the whole game?
Yeah.
Both
And then
games.
I also saw, I don't know why we didn't just have one person cut middle and then a wide open corner three and a dive. Afraid to shoot or afraid to cut. I don't know what it was, but I could not
But
watch
they were like,
half.
that's the problem with the Bulls. They were like, all right, DeRozan, you're not shooting. You can pass to a wide open Ayo Dosunmu or Alex Caruso, who shot 1 for 11 in that game,
Yeah, I mean, he
and
was
we'll
playing
let them
bad.
beat us. And we didn't because we couldn't hit our shots. And also, DeRozan was turning the ball over a little bit because nobody was flashing to the middle. That was really bad to watch. But it was kind of cool to play them back to back. And don't we play New Orleans back to back right now?
No, we play New Orleans tonight, and then we play Sunday.
Yeah, and then New Orleans again, right?
Right.
But it was cool to see us play the Raptors back to back because that's when a team can actually make adjustments, and it's kind of like a playoff setting because they knew how to cover DeRozan going into the game, and yeah, Levine was back, which totally
Yeah, I was gonna
messed
say,
up
do you
the
want to know the
game.
biggest adjustment of that? The biggest
Yeah,
adjustment was Zach Levine was in the fucking lineup,
yeah,
and when they
and we
doubled
had somebody who
Demar,
could actually
they
score the
must have
fucking
forgot
ball.
Zach could play because Zach had 30. They're like, "Oh, we'll
Yeah,
double Demar again all night," and Zach was like, "Please do. I'll get the easiest 30 points of my life," and that's what he did. He had an
and
easy.
Zach really needed that 30 piece.
He did,
People were
including
there's this
myself,
whole
including myself, because
yeah.
I was getting pissed at him for two things. One, he was resting and missing games that we should be winning. We're 6-6 right now, but I texted you last week. I was like, if you look at the games of Toronto, San Antonio, and Washington when Zach didn't play in either of those three games, we should win those three games.
All
We
three.
should be 9-3.
And we should have. Wait, did we have Levine when we played Philly?
Yeah, we did. We lost that
We
game.
did. Okay.
Yeah, but that's just beside the point. Is Levine? We're paying you $250 million, and I get we don't want to get him to. We don't want to hurt him, but I mean, I'm glad we're done with these back to backs. So this early schedule has really fucked us
It,
because he's not playing, and now we don't have another back to back till December 11th and 12th. I think is the next day. So we get to see Zach in a
wow.
lineup for once, act like consistently and get him in his groove because playing in and out is what he's been all season so far, and that's why part of the reason he hasn't looked good. I think if he gets some room and some time to get like his legs under him, I am very
Yeah,
confident he'll be getting 26 to 28 points a game again. And the Bulls need that. The Bulls need to be our best player.
I agree. And we're doing all of this, by the way, without our starting point guard in Lonzo Ball,
Lonzo Ball.
which is hard enough
Yep. And
on its own.
we've been missing Kobe and Drummond for the last
But
3 or 4 games.
yeah, I think also as hard as it is, as hard as this sounds, it probably was the best for us to sit Levine in those games. I mean, we just invested a whole bunch of money in him, and we don't want him to re-aggravate anything before the season. But
Right.
you're right, we could easily be like 9-3 right now if we just played him.
And I agree that we should be sitting him. It just really frustrates me when I see us shorthanded in games that we really could be winning and that could come back to haunt us later in the year.
100%. We ran through this problem last year too.
But I'm glad that we're still winning games against good teams and we're competing against good teams. And the other
That's
thing
my favorite part.
is we miss Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond's getting 10 rebounds a game in less than 25 minutes. 10 a game in less than.
He's like 13th in rebounds in the league.
And I know, and you and I said, and I just said Zach LaVine would have helped us win the game against Toronto that we lost on Sunday, Sunday it was.
Mhm.
But if we have Drummond, we win that game too because Drummond gets rebounds. We just couldn't box out.
Yeah.
But Drummond 10 rebounds, and I thought he was a great signing.
Toronto is a total
Paying him $3
mismatch.
million a year. That's pretty much a minimum deal. Like that's a great. I think we have great value for him, and he's looked like. I'm not going to compare him to Pau Gasol, but he's looked a bit rejuvenated here in Chicago in his role.
Kinda has.
Yeah. And similar to when Pau came here years ago, people were like, oh, it's the end of his career. And then he came here and was averaging like 18 and 10.
And the same thing with Goran Dragic too. He's kind of come alive.
Right.
It's either coming to Chicago rejuvenates your career or leaving Brooklyn rejuvenates your career. One of the two.
That shithole of Brooklyn. Yeah.
It's probably Brooklyn because that place is terrible.
It's terrible. Yeah. But overall,
almost worse than the other New York place.
Yeah, that team hasn't even been that bad this year.
I know.
They
really haven't.
I hate talking about the Knicks, so we'll talk about them at some point. They need to do something that actually makes me like jump.
I saw a report today that they're like hoarding all their first round picks for the next megastar that comes along.
Well, of course they are.
So that's worked out well.
They've been doing that for 5 years, and now they haven't got the best thing they got there was Jalen Brunson. So I'll believe it when I see it. The Bulls play tonight against New Orleans. Hopefully, we can get this win. I think Drummond should be back, so we should only be missing Kobe and Zoe. Be great to get another win tonight, and finally, we don't have to be playing these back to backs, and we'll have some continuity under our belt. Hopefully,
New Orleans is really good.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
But that'll be all for this episode, and we'll see you guys next time. See you later.